All right, I'm just going to count it down.
Oh, you want me to do the intro now?
Yeah, if you can.
So right now you want me to do the intro.
If you can, yeah.
If you were listening to one of my podcasts or anything like that, this would be part of the intro.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking about.
Maybe we're doing the intro right now. And you know what, folks? We already did the interview. It's amazing. Yeah. This guy is unbelievable. All right. Ken is something else. You know, even though he didn't show me his kids, we had a great time talking about personal branding, how to separate yourself from the competition. It gave you some really good ideas. And if we didn't, it's my fault. It's not his fault. You know, he did everything he could to keep me on the straight path, and I kept veering off in different directions. So just trust me on this. Oh, and there's some good stories in there too.
There's some good stories.
Enjoy yourself. Have a good time.
You are now listening to the next great small business podcast. Welcome to the S.M.E Stories podcast, where it is all about small businesses in Canada. And here's your host, Ken Alfred.
I think it is for every owner listening out there. It's something to really consider. Really get outside your comfort zone of like, if you're in that particular space, you only know that's there. I'm like, there's some value to knowing what's good in your space. But if you're trying to grow or trying to distinguish yourself, you need to kind of be, what's your mass appeal to other areas, right? Because otherwise your client pool is going to be very, very small.
Yeah, some of the most famous people, and in our book, you know, we talk about famous people over time. I mean, Steve Jobs he used to just say, he said, I study people who have nothing to do with high tech. He was known for having meetings at the Apple headquarters where he would bring in painters, chefs, grade school teachers. You know, I mean, he would bring them into a meeting with his team, and they would start thinking about, I don't know, designing a product or something like that. And these people had completely different perspectives.
Yeah.
That's how we come up with new ideas. If we don't do that, you know, inside your box, we have it's known as the MVP, the minimum viable product. Okay, we know that. Wow. And then we just say, oh, we can make it better. We'll make it yellow. You know, see what I'm saying? So, you know, that's not what we want to do. We want to separate ourselves. We want to have an unfair advantage over our competition.
Wow. So, yeah, it's unbelievable from that point. Yeah, as long as you don't do anything illegal, but yeah, you just generally want to just beat them.
Well, right? Not illegal. There's nothing illegal about looking in somebody else's box.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's what's the best part of it. Like, we're not endorsing like any like malpractice or insider stuff. No.
No,
like,
not at all.
We're saying, look outside your box and see what others are doing or what you can do that can replicate that in your particular space and make your MVP a lot bigger, right? So
people will say, well, how do I go find these boxes? You know, I remember one time I was with somebody. We were sitting in a Starbucks and we were talking about this, and they said, well, where do I get ideas for looking around? I said, we're in a Starbucks.
Just look around.
What's on the wall? You know, what's going on? What are they wearing? How do they talk to you? Did you know that none of us knew how to order coffee until Starbucks started their stores?
Yeah.
Right? See, they taught us a language.
Yeah. You know what it was before? Coffee. You just go to any place. Coffee. Yeah. It's like.
Yeah. It from a cafe. You know, and it wasn't, you know, it was just, all right, do you want cream?
Yeah. Or decaf. That's pretty much all it was.
Yeah, cream or decaf, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, now you have to have a degree to be able to order coffee at a Starbucks.
And they're always adding new stuff, which can be good or bad. And I guess.
And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's just, wow. So let me ask you this then, Steve. So then what has been, I always had like, I'm almost throwing out what my game plan was to talk to you today. So I just have to at least remember the question I definitely want to ask you for sure. So what have been like, I always ask a lot of my guests here. So what has been your biggest failure, but also your biggest success so far?
My biggest failure. I think my biggest failure was probably, in the beginning, when I started doing this as a consulting for myself, when I made the decision, oh, I'm going to go full time into this, right?
Right.
I assumed I had to have a staff. I assumed I had to have, assistants, and I had to have, designers and all this sort of stuff. Um, and it just, I mean, oh my God, we were making a ton of money, didn't keep any of it.
It was going to like overhead and staff.
The cost was too high to have all these people and have a facility and all this sort of stuff. And I'm out giving speeches and doing that sort of stuff. And I'm giving speeches just to pay for that.
Right.
So that was the day I realized, the day I just I said, oh my gosh, hold on a second, and I just shut the whole thing down, went to working by myself. And ultimately, like I say, Kay, she was having a very successful career, and then just out of the blue, she says, I want to have a baby, and I said, you can't have a baby and sell mufflers.
Yeah.
Because she traveled a lot, and
Yeah.
it was a pretty big deal. And she said, I know. She said, I'm going to go to work for you. And I said, do I get a say in, anyway, and she said, of course not, and,
Yeah.
best thing that ever happened. And Kelly growing up and we created things for us, for our family. One thing here, like, for example, we had a terrible client. All right. And this was also one of the biggest mistakes I ever made was early. We had a client who was a very, very large company based in Seattle. You can't figure out who that is. And and they were just horrible. They were just the worst client possible. But they represented over 60% of our income. And I said, I can't fire them. And Kay said, and Kay finally said, she said, we got to fire these guys. And we did. And then as a result of that, we did something that we teach people now. It's on our website. If you go to our website and you go across the menu across the top, one of the buttons you see is our rules. Mm-hmm. And what we did was we created a list of rules where we set from then on, and we're very famous for our rules. For having done this. It's the most visited page on our website. We now say to people, and we've been doing this since, is that if somebody says they want to hire us to consult or anything like that, we go, have you read our rules? And if they say no, we say, go read our rules, call us back. Okay, if you don't agree to the rules, we're not going to work together. And it's simple stuff like one, rule of family. We say our family is more important than you are, and your family is more important than we are. So if you have to choose between something to do with us, you have to choose between us or your family.
You better pick your family. Yeah. Okay?
So like that, early years ago, I said I had a rule I would never wear a tie. I actually had pushback on that from some big companies because I was working with their boards of directors. They're going, are you kidding? The directors will never agree to that. I said, then we ain't working together. Okay. And our rule of fun. If you become a pain in the ass and you're not fun to work with, you're fired. And then we also had a rule of travel. Now this is not a cool thing, this is a stupid thing. When COVID hit and Kay shut down most of my travel, when she shut down most of my travel, I had over 6 million frequent flyer miles.
Oh,
That is not something to be proud of. I mean, that's crazy.
that's a lot.
That's just crazy to think about how do you get 6 million miles, right? So, but during all of that, when we made the rules, one of the things was I only travel first class. Okay. It's not, and I just put it in there. I say, Steve travels first class. I got 6 million miles. This is my world. If you want me, if you want me to fly to India, it's a first class ticket.
Yeah.
Okay. And, but we also added, and you'll see this on our website at the bottom. I go, Kay doesn't mind flying coach.
Ah. Buzzing.
So hire her.
Hire.
I tell people, hire Kay. She doesn't mind. She loves traveling, and she doesn't bother her to fly coach. Of course, she's half my size, but anyway. So stuff like that, and we say this is how we run our business, and I keep telling, and I tell all my clients, I tell everybody, I say this is how, especially if you own your own business, this is how you should be looking at it. You have your own business because you want to be independent.
Right.
And you want to live life the way you want to live it. So many of us, solo entrepreneurs, for example, side hustles or stuff like that. It ends up it's just like we have a job.
Yeah.
We're still reporting to somebody. And stuff, and I encourage people, why live like that? Why live like that? So, I mean, we do a lot of things for our clients. I guarantee you, we take really good care of our clients. Okay.
Yeah.
But they know that, we have rules. Ways to work and stuff like that. And now all these years later, you can see I'm just a white-haired old guy, No,
that's interesting. Like, these are awesome stories, Steve. And like I said, I've thrown out most of my agenda here on what I was going to ask you. But I do have one other question then for you. So that we kind of talked about, all right, what are the mistakes that people are making right now? You talked about, they're in their box all the time. Is there anything else that for all your years of working with all these different clients, even the solopreneurs, what mistakes are they also making aside from being in their box?
See, and I'm going to go back to that because, and I will go outside of that as well. The box kills you. All right. Because you go in there and you say, here are the rules for playing
in this
game.
box. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We have to follow those rules. Well, who wrote those rules? Somebody wrote those rules who's laughing at you.
Yeah.
Because they're you are believing that you have to do that. You have to live like that. You're believing that, and they are controlling the rules. Somebody else is controlling the rules. And, so in fact, that's something that we teach our clients is when you don't just try to get out of your box. Nobody has any idea what that means. All right. So you got your box, you climb out. What? No, build your own box.
Mm-hmm.
Build your own box. All right. The mistake that you're making is by paying too much attention to what other people are thinking about you instead of building your own box, and creating your own rules of competition. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that you have to follow what everybody. You know what? Hey, who created the heavenly bed?
The heavenly bed. No.
Westin Hotels created the heavenly bed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
How many hotels now have their own type of heavenly bed?
Heavenly bed? All of them. Yeah.
All of them, right? See, that's how the box works. Is that even if somebody comes up with a new idea, if it's copyable, it will be copied.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool, actually. Because I'll tell you this, Steve. Because I remember I wanted to get into voice acting, right? Because I thought, okay, I do the podcast. A lot of people say I have a radio voice. I don't know if that means they think I'm ugly on TV, but I guess maybe that's what they're saying.
You and me
But
both. I used to be a DJ.
there we go. So I thought, okay, let's get into voice acting. You know, there's some courses here, but then, you know, you can go to Fiverr and try to sell your voiceover services. I thought, okay, I'll just make my own voiceovers. That might be easier. But then I just did this one thing where they said, oh, if you want to do something, try to get into the audiobook narration.
Audiobook.
I was like, okay, I guess I can do that. I mean, I don't know. We'll try it. So I went into Audible, applied for a bunch of things. No one came back. No one got back to me. Out of the blue, some client just came up to me and said, I heard your voice. I want you to do my book. I said, oh, okay. And they says, let's try. And then we tried something different. So I read the audiobook. I read it for him. It's also about an entrepreneur story. And he says, and we actually did, like, you know, remember back in the day with like Blu-rays and DVDs, they would have like those things that, I don't know if I'm dating myself here, they used to have special features, right? So you can watch, you know, a TV show and there'll be like little audio commentary from the creator or some really behind the scenes
You're
thing.
dating yourself?
I don't know if anyone knows what special features are nowadays.
My dad was co-inventor of the 8-track tape player, and you're asking me if you're dating yourself?
I meant to the younger listeners, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they know about.
Special features. Yeah, absolutely.
So what we did was so I read his book, and then what we actually was we did in between chapters, it was a conversation between me and the author.
I love it.
So that's what we did for his book.
I love it.
And I'm thinking, and now I have 2 more projects lined up because I sent it to one of my guests on the show. She started her own book, and she wrote her own book, and then she's like, I love it. Let's talk about that, and we'll do but she doesn't want me to read the book, but she might want me to just do the special features in between the chapters. So I'm thinking,
there you go.
That's a box.
Now
that's a new box.
You know, now certainly that can be copyable.
Yep.
But there's also a type of uncopyable where people don't want to copy because it's a hassle.
Oh.
And I will tell you, audiobooks are an enormous hassle.
It's not easy. A lot of people think it's easy.
We did our own audiobooks.
Yeah.
You know, it's hours and hours inside that little freaking tiny studio. And and even having come from the background of audio video with my dad, it was still a pain in the butt. You and I can talk about that some more when we're done.
Yeah. Afterward, yeah, because it was a really cool thing. And like I said, we've got a couple more potential jobs coming up in the new year for that because they like the idea of it. So I'm like, all right, we'll see what happens. But all right, let's ask you about, let's do the rapid fire round now. So this is where we actually get to do some more fun stuff after talking a lot about serious business stuff here. So, all right, I'm going to start with the first question. All right, Steve, what word or phrase do you most overuse?
It's okay to use it?
Buzzing. If it's a curse word, then you gotta we'll have to bleep it out. But yeah,
that's what it is.
There, enough said. Okay, what is something that most people are obsessed with that you just don't get?
What is this? I love that question. What is it that people are obsessed with? Well, I'll use what I'm seeing a lot of right now on Facebook.
Okay.
And being an author, there are all these authors on Facebook who have never sold
a single.
They might have a book published that they self-published. They've sold 10 copies, and they are obsessed that somebody is trying to scam them. If somebody reaches out and says, and they go, hey, we can do an audio version of your book, or we could do this or do this. They're just, scam, you're a scammer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm absolutely blown away by how bad, how just crazy these people are with it. I go, you do understand that the word scam is it means it's an illegal thing, right?
Yeah.
All they're trying to do is sell you a service.
Yeah. But that's not a bad one. I think is I don't know. Maybe if people have been burned too many times in the past, so someone coming out,
How is somebody who has sold 10 copies of their book been burned?
I
don't know. The answer is they have not been burned. They're making it up. Anyway, it's and they all hate me because I'm just like you guys are absolute morons.
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's one of the things that they're afraid of making mistakes and stuff like that. So they're like anything that they think they just throw red flags that they want to get burned. They want to live a perfect, error-free, kind of thing. But I'm like, everyone makes mistakes regardless of no matter how prepared you are. It's going to happen. You just have to try to minimize.
If you hire somebody to do a job for you and they do a crappy job, that doesn't mean they're scamming you.
Yeah, this means they're bad at it.
It's just they're probably just bad at it.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I was gonna on a lighter note for my family, what people are obsessed with, at least for my family. I mean, so my two kids and my wife, everyone has a phone or whatever. It's this game called Block Blast. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. No. Do you remember Tetris back in the day?
Oh yeah.
To me, it's like a reverse Tetris. So instead of coming down, you're coming up, and I can't seem to get it. They're looking at each other's score.
Killing it, right?
They're killing it. They're like, I tried it once. I tried it a couple of times, Steve, and I'm like, yeah, no, not for me. That and that game Wordle. I don't know if Wordle is still a thing now.
Yeah, but, I think it is. Yeah, I used to do Wordle, but I just run out of time after a while, or patience. I hear you. Stuff like that. People just get obsessed with that stuff, and you're just going, how much time did you spend on Wordle today?
Exactly.
You spend 30 minutes on Wordle today?
Yeah.
In 30 minutes I can make $1,000.
Exactly. Just work your business and stuff like that. All right.
Yeah.
Next question. We're closer to the holiday season here. We're filming this in December. What is the best and worst Christmas movie?
The best Christmas movie? Okay, that's very subjective. Kay and I watch that. We watch Christmas movies.
Yes.
And every year we always watch. We always make sure we watch It's a Wonderful Life. We make sure we watch Christmas Story.
Shoot your eye out.
The one that and I'm gonna be glib and say that my favorite Christmas movie. Okay, I got a new one for you. My new favorite Christmas movie is a movie called Love Hard.
Love Hard. I don't know if I saw that.
It stars I can't remember her name. Anyway, it's about a woman who is a reporter on the West Coast, and she writes a column, a love column or something like that, right? And but she doesn't have a connection or anything like that. She's doing stuff like on Tinder or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And she's connecting with people. She connects with a guy who's in Toronto. I think it's Toronto. And anyway, and he catfishes her.
Oh.
And but she doesn't know it until she decides that she's going to surprise him for Christmas, and she flies out to Toronto and shows up, and it's not the guy whose picture she keeps seeing. Right? It's very funny. It's a very cute. It's a fairly new movie. Kay and I think it's been out for maybe 3 or 4 years.
Love Hard.
And
okay.
So Love Hard is our favorite. The one I really don't like is Elf.
Elf. A lot of people like Elf, but I'll tell you this: my favorite, for me personally, Home Alone 1 and 2. The ones I hate the most, Home Alone 3, 4, 5, anything after that. That's pretty much what it is. I
completely agree with you. I mean, Home Alone 1 was great.
Yeah,
it was really great.
It was unique, and then Home Alone 2, Karen, they just exaggerated a little bit more.
As soon as Trump showed up, it was like, come on.
Yeah. But then after that, it was like when you replace Macaulay Culkin and those two bandits, I'm like, it's kind of hard, right? But it's hard to make movie after that.
I'll also throw for Die Hard has got to be on somebody's list.
I think Die Hard's a Christmas movie. Some people are going to say no. I'm like, it's a Christmas movie. if there's Christmas tree in it and there's some jingle bells, that's a Christmas movie.
Well, if you remember at the end, didn't the limo driver have a teddy bear that he was giving to somebody for?
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Like that. I mean, it was there. It was there.
It was there. All right. Last couple of questions here. So I always ask this to all my guests here. If you can have a sandwich named after you, what would be in it and what would you call it?
What would be in it? Well, I would say it would be it would be a steak sandwich, like a fillet sandwich.
Nice.
It would be topped with onion rings. I mean, as far as the rest of the accoutrements, it would be a pretzel roll. And I would call it the Uncopyable burger.
If you didn't say Uncopyable, I'd be very surprised.
I know
something like that. So that is awesome.
Didn't disappoint you.
There we go. All right, last question I have here related to this. What is your theme song and why? So you're walking down the street, that song hits, everyone knows Steve's coming.
Living in the USA.
Ooh, Bruce Springsteen. Can't go wrong with that.
No. Steve Miller Band.
Oh, I'm thinking Born in the USA. My mistake.
No, not Born in the USA. Living in the USA.
Living in the USA. My mistake. Wow.
And actually, and the reason really is less to do with Steve Miller Band. It was the first song I heard played in my dorm room my freshman year in college.
Wow.
And I just remember that I heard that and I just thought, I'm in college now.
Wow, that's awesome, man. So any other final tips you want to give to anyone either wanting to start a business, they're currently going through it?
First, can I give them a little gift?
Sure.
Yeah. See, Kay and I, we like to help people. We really do like to help people. So Kay put together a 5-day personal branding course. That if you go to beuncopyable.com /5 emails, and you can get this thing for free. The other thing is in my website, beuncopyable.com, there's a contact us thing in there. If you have a question, fire it away. I will answer your question. Okay. I want you to buy our books. We love for people to buy our books. They also have field guides that you can sign up for and get. But I have absolutely no issue with answering questions for people, and I don't believe in charging for everything. I'm here to help people, and I know how to make money.
There you go.
I already know how to do that, and don't worry about Steve. Steve's bills are paid.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I really, I'm serious. If there's something I can do to help you, let me know.
beuncopyable.com. Wow. That's great. Thanks again, Steve, for being on here. It was an awesome episode. Like I said, I think I threw out all my questions aside from that.
Yeah, I am disappointed in you.
I'm sorry about that.
I am. I thought for sure I was going to meet the kids.
You know what? It's still, we're recording this unfortunately, the kids are still at school. So sneaking it in for that, I will let them know that they were requested by a guest of mine. So that's going to be great.
Yeah. I like, we're that's the way we are, we
family.
We're big on family. And so I was kind of hoping that they would be there, but if they have to be in school.
I can try to grab the cats, but aside from that, I'm thinking.
You have 2 cats, right?
2 cats, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're not here right now because I locked them up from my studio here because otherwise they've jumped on a few of my episodes in the past. So I had to try to lock the door. But anyways, thanks again, Steve, for being on the show. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. I appreciate it. Maybe we can reconnect sometime.
Hey, do you need an error-free website? Do you need transcription that's accurate and on time? Would you like to remove noise from your video or audio recording? Do you need a spokesperson for your business? If so, we can help. At Northway Capital Group, we are happy to announce that we are now providing website testing services, audio transcriptions, and audio cleanup, as well as spokesperson services. We would love to help you on your next project. Contact us for more information at northwaycapitalgroup@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening to the S.M.E Stories podcast, which is owned by Northway Capital Group. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Northway Capital Group.